On our way to Vegas. It's a donkey. Project. We are not leaking.
You gotta shake it?
Yeah. Nice. Looks good, dude. Ah. What up, world? It's BK here, and we just drove from Winnemucca to Las Vegas to help my buddy Juan work on his 2004 VW Golf. It's been having some overheating issues, and recently we took it to a shop to get it inspected. And they said that it was leaking from the heater core as well as the radiator, and basically all the hoses were damaged and the radiator was damaged. So they wanted to charge him $2,900 to fix it. So we just ordered the parts that they said were broken from RockAuto, and we spent a total of $200, and we're gonna go ahead and replace them. Man, it's dirty in here. So it's got some issues with the cooling system, and looks like they haven't changed the oil in a while. So the shop gave us a spec sheet and said that the radiator core was leaking, the heater hoses were messed up, the overflow valve was damaged, and there were some hoses that were leaking and corroded from. And to see here, there's some corrosion. This is damaged or something, I'm not sure. And the radiator is here. I've turned it on and let it idle for a little while, but I didn't notice anything leaking. But so I'm not 100% sure if the radiator is damaged. But Juan went ahead and purchased a new radiator anyways, and we're gonna go ahead and replace the radiator today. Now, I don't know too much about European cars. I mainly work on Japanese cars, so this is a bit of a new experience for me. But if you've been around for the channel for a little while, you may remember that we actually replaced the battery in this thing about 6 months ago. Okay, with the car secured on jack stands, we're just gonna take a look underneath. So we definitely have some oil leaking going on. You can see could be just from, not really sure yet, but it's pulling up on the filter. So maybe the connector point for the filter has a seal, like here. Maybe this has a seal that's damaged or broken. I don't see any, like, oh yeah, you see here, this is the radiator core. That's what they're talking about. Okay, so it does look like it is leaking. So yeah, the radiator may have failed. And then we also have some leakage on the pan itself, which he says it's not leaking a lot, so who knows, it could be a seal or something like that. But today we're just going to tackle the radiator. So it looks like we're going to have to remove the bumper, and yeah, should be it. He's having issues with his AC, and this actually might be why. You see this hose has some sort of a residue on it. So maybe this hose is damaged, because this is the compressor. I believe this is the AC compressor. I'll double check in the future, but if we get them to discharge this, then we could probably just replace this line and he should be good to go. So to drain the coolant on a 2004 Volkswagen Golf 2.0, you have to locate the radiator, and then you're looking for this hose. This one. So once we remove this hose clamp, we can pull this out, and then the coolant should drain from here. I think we can also use this valve, but I'm not too sure. We'll try that first. Yep. So just twist this valve and then pull it out, and it will start leaking. Make sure you have your bucket ready to go. To locate this valve, look at the front of the engine and then under to the right. It might drain slowly or not all the way, so you're gonna want to get that hose off. We're gonna want to remove that clamp and then get the actual hose off of the spigot thing, and then that should allow us to get the rest of the coolant that's in the system out. So you see it's still kind of dripping a little bit. Now that we have the radiator drained, to start removing the radiator, we're gonna need to remove some pieces from the front, including the bumper, the headlights, and this like plastic shroud thing. So to get to the radiator, which is under here, we're gonna remove the headlight, and it looks like it's these screws, these T25s here. So these T25s hold the headlight in, and then these just look like Phillips screws. So we're gonna take those off. Okay, so removing the T25s here allows you to kind of flip this up, which is kind of cool. I mean, European cars. And then we've got T30s here, so we're gonna go ahead and remove these T30s. Okay, so once you remove the things here, oops, and these ones or whatever, then to pop the bumper out, you have to remove the wheel liner here. So just the wheel liner bolts, those ones. And it's really cool. I think this is cool. So there's little slides, if you can see that. So these here hook into the inner of the bumper, and then that kind of slides in, which is really cool. So whoever worked on this last never replaced, like I guess this piece, which is the mounting bracket holder thing, was damaged, so they never replaced it. And instead of, you know, getting a new light bulb or whatever, they just chicken wired it and never got the mounting points. So next, I think we need to remove the headlights. So this is just barely hanging in there, but there's a few screws here and some chicken wires, so we're gonna take those off. Should be some screws underneath here too. Looks like T25s. And then, well, my camera overheated and I kind of got carried away in the meantime, but basically this is the radiator support, and it has a bunch of little T25s that connect it all together, and then the crash bar is supported by these two bolts here, and that kind of holds it all together. Once you take that off, everything just sort of hangs. So now we're going to remove the condenser from the radiator. So European clips are pretty easy to get off. You just stick a screwdriver between this. Everything's gonna follow me. And then you just kind of like wiggle it off. So the fan shroud is connected with these T30s to the radiator, and then it's basically just sandwiched between that, the fan shroud, and the condenser. And then once you have the two hoses, the top one and the bottom one off, you can just pull it out. Okay, so this is the old one, and it does look like there's some damage on it, but I don't know, it doesn't look like it'd be leaking anywhere. I mean, I guess from here, if we look, there's like crusties here, so maybe it's like peeling apart and that's how it's leaking. Okay, so here's the new one. We're gonna have to take out the thermostat that's over there and put it there. Okay, so we actually have the replacement part for that. So we're gonna take that one off and put on the new one. And then this, so this is the lower. And yeah, which is good because that piece is failing. So, all right, so we have the upper radiator hose here, and we're just gonna we've removed this clip, and then we're gonna take this one off, and then should be able to just slot it all back together. There's the nipple there and there. I guess this runs coolant through here to maybe cool down the oil. Not really sure. looks like we're gonna have to reuse a couple of the clips, which should be fine. This one we don't have to reuse, just this one. And then the ones that go on. It's overheating again. I mean, it's over 100 degrees here, so. Okay, well, I couldn't clear the hump this way, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the clamp on this way and then push it. Okay, we got the new upper hose, and now we're just gonna replace the lower one, which is right here. So we got this hookup, and then, yep. Okay, sick. So we're almost done. We need to get some distilled water, and see ya. And then we're gonna use this Liqui Moly radiator cleaner to flush the radiator. We're gonna flush this, and that's what we need the distilled water to. So once we run this through, we'll use the distilled water to kind of clean the rest out. So I'm just gonna pour it in there, and then let it pour out of that. Okay, so with the radiator all flushed, it's time to just put it all back together. Keep missing them. What up, day 2? So yesterday we got the radiator in and the bumper and everything back together. Juan just helped me get the grill, which I was struggling with this piece. So this thing is ridiculous. You have these 2 little nubs here, and you have to kind of pry it open in order to get it around, and then it seats with the metal thing. European cars. So right now we're gonna replace this, which we had just already taken apart, and I thought it was interesting because, like, what is this in here? Like, what is this? What? With the old junky one out, we got this new one. It's even a different color. That's crazy. But it doesn't have any of that like floaty thing in there. Hey, it's Dee. We figured out what that plastic is. If you look in the new one, there's like the 2 metal pieces and there's a plastic there. Okay, so we got the new expansion reservoir thing in, and then we put 1 gallon of distilled water through there. And instead of buying 2 50/50s, we just bought 1 concentrate, and then we mixed up distilled water in there, and it's a nice pink color. And hopefully the overheating stops. No, I can't make these excuses like, oh, I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. I just am not very intelligent. So we got the radiators back together and we started bleeding it, and it's in the bottom hose was. So this was leaking. So what we ended up figuring out is this O-ring that was inside of it kept folding. So it just was defective or whatever. So we couldn't really, well, our plan was to get the old connector piece that was in the trash can. So we walked our happy butts over here to the trash can. You can see the radiator box. And I was like, oh, that's not the radiator box, it's the TV box. That's the radiator box. So I jumped in this trash can and crawled through it looking for the radiator, which we found, but it turns out the piece isn't disconnectable. So we kept digging, trying to find the hose, and hanging from the radiator box was a baggie with 2 of these O-rings. So after a little while of fumbling around, we took one of the old ones. We can tell that it's just a little bit fatter, and we stuck the new one in, and so far it hasn't leaked, so hopefully it stays that way. Now we're just gonna change the oil on this VW 2.0 and take it for a spin. Juan's wife is signing as well, right next to her mans. Not too bad. We just decided to also change the oil on this Volkswagen. It's interesting, these European cars. I've never really worked on European cars. I mean, I have a 848, so I've worked on European motorcycles, but they all use like Torx for everything. So the only real weird thing about one of these can be a little interesting to get the oil. You might get the oil pan mixed up with the transmission pan. So this is the oil pan, this one. And then the transmission is over there, so make sure you work with that one. And the bolt is a T50. The oil was so dark. Look at this stuff. Gross. So now that we've changed the oil, the coolant, and the radiator, we are seeing if the car blows up. So far it hasn't blown up. Sounds pretty good. I mean, it doesn't sound any different than it did. Juan's a no camera guy. He's a cameraman. Someday Juan and I are gonna make games together. He's currently working on a mobile game. It's a secret, but someday I'll show you. And yeah, he's a really talented guy. He's not only a game designer, but a programmer and an illustrator as well. So unlike my games, his actually look good and play good. So we're just gonna head to AutoZone, drop off this oil, and if anything crazy happens, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I think this was a successful trip to Vegas to help my buddy Juan. Thank you for letting me help you, Juan.
Thank you, Brandon.
So we just made it to the AutoZone, and we are not leaking, which is solid. But looks like we went through the coolant. Yeah, but it's not all the way gone.